People are just coming on now, so we'll be started in a moment. I don't know why Mark's not coming on up to the top. Maybe he's distracted for the moment, but we'll get going. It's exactly the top of the hour right now. So we can do an intro and just about, let's give it about 2 or 3 more minutes, Kamal, so that people can come up. Say invite as a speaker again.
Here we go. Mark should be coming up.
For some reason, Mark, there he is.
Welcome, Mark.
Now we're rocking and rolling. All right, hi, Mark.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? All is well. It's a beautiful Saturday here, South Florida, and I know it's probably pretty nice where you are in North Florida, or actually sort of West Coast Florida. What's it like where you are, Kamal?
It's rainy over here.
Oh, it is rainy? Well, it's not raining here. It rained all night, but we're good here. So,
a little frost here. It's on the cool side.
Yeah. Today is our anniversary for Marbeth and I, so we're going to go down to the Keys a little bit later, maybe tomorrow morning, and spend the night at Baker's Cay, which is the #1 resort in Florida and the #6 resort in the U.S. and number 32 in the world. And we're going to have some fun. We've been there twice before. One of the great amenities that they have, which I've never seen in any other hotel, is that they have this augmented reality room where you get to put on goggles and go to the top of Machu Picchu, or work with Van Gogh, or dive in the ocean with the sharks, swim with the sharks in a great way. So Elliot Kaplan joined us. All right. Hi, Elliot. Good to see you again. All right. Mikey. Hi, Mikey. Do you want to speak? Flash yourself if you want to speak, or sales. Anybody wants to speak? We'll get going here in just a second.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mark Harrison. Do me a favor, everybody. Hit the plus sign, the more button. Let's get started. We're going to start in a minute or so, but start adding more people to the room, and welcome on this beautiful day here. Beautiful. Mikey, I'm trying to bring you up. I don't know what's happening, but it's not. Please follow the club and follow the moderators when you come up. So.
Yeah, well, we are rocking and rolling. So Kamal will start our intros and stuff like that. I'll give us a short overview for today's topic. So basically today's topic is about the tides and trends of wealth, and the tides and trends of the knowledge industry, which is going to be a very interesting topic because, there's so much width and breadth there to deal with. One of the ways to wealth and mental growth is to follow the tide of opportunity. And, nobody is kept in poverty by a shortness of the supply of the riches and things that are out there, basically. There's more than enough for everybody out there. A palace as large as all of Washington could be built for every family on earth from just the building material in the United States alone. And under intense cultivation, this country could produce the entire food supply for everyone in the world, plus clothing supply, plus all the basic necessities for anybody in the entire world. And so, no one is really poor in nature. That comes from a basic conditioned experience which we have, where we don't trust ourselves, we don't trust our environments. But as we organize ourselves, as we come into the place of mental organization, we succeed by the agents of our inner machinery. The people who have been rulers of many countries, including our own at different times, and even sometimes recently, the multimillionaires, the greed mongers out there who are operating on the basis of greed are like the monster reptiles in the prehistoric era. They play a necessary part in the evolutionary process, but the same power which produced them basically will dispose of them. And it's well to bear in mind that they've never really been rich, because those kinds of people, if you look at the record of their lives, most of this class of people show that they really have been some of the most abject, wretched people of the poor. And, you have to never think for a moment that, resources and opportunities and trends are in short supply. They're not. They never are. They never will be, and they never can be. So, we're in a space of where we're not seeking anything that is possessed by anybody else. So as you grow in your wealth, you're causing what you want to be created from the formless, if you will, and you supply it with, the intention and the energy and the love that you have to give to all things. So this is the setup for today's room. Basically, let's get Kamal to set the room up, and then we will open up discussion, because I'd love to hear from all of you guys, what trends and opportunities and things do you think have the greatest, connections to our growth process in every way possible to be and to experience being and with wealthy mofos. Okay, Kamal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Harrison. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Mike and Cheryl and Dr. Lee and Elliot. Welcome for the Saturday's edition of the Wealthy Mofo Show, where we're going to talk about the tides, the trends, and the knowledge of the industry. You've got Mr. Harrison with years of experience in mindset training. We got Mark Tosoni, who is an amazing entrepreneur and a sales superstar, and myself, Kamal El-Rassi, a student and teacher of the law of attraction. What we got going on today, just to set the room and make it fair for everybody. So, do yourself a favor, get a pen and a paper. You're going to want to write a few things down as we go along. And I ask every one of you, as you come up, follow the moderators and follow the house. It's just a courtesy. And this way you would know when we open the room, so that you know that the room got opened. We're doing it every Saturday now at 12 p.m. Eastern. And this information has the power to change your life. So take it seriously. This is some real information that if you act on it, it's going to help you. It's one of those things where at some point we all grow up and become serious and take responsibility. So this is true, information that has helped so many, and we're here sharing it with you freely. So, and to do that, do me a favor as you come up, mute your mic. This way to keep it fair and safe and less noise as you come up. In your bio, have something with your social, with your information, so we know that you are a real person. And when you come up to share, keep it to 2 minutes and keep it on topic. We like to keep it on the topic for today. I know we all have stories and things, and we'd love to share and hear, but let's keep it to 2 minutes under the topic of discussion. Also, this information is for your benefit. When you come up to share, don't give medical advice. This is just open Q&A for you to help. We talked about a pen and paper, and you can always find us on the social media group. We have a website, Wealthy Mofos, where we're going to have more information for you to reach out and see what is this all about and subscribe to the channel. So it's exciting where we're taking this, and we're excited that you're here with us. So hit the plus sign, add a few more people to the room, and let's get started. Mr. Harrison already kicked it off, but Mark, you want to kick it off as well?
Let me do one more thing before we start here. So I just want to introduce us. I am Harrison Klien.
I'm Mark Tosoni.
I'm Kamal El-Rassi.
And we are
The Wealthy Mofos. Woo!
All right, Mark, you want to comment on what we started?
Yes, sir. With that, I'll be off and running. Thank you, Wealthy Mofos. So there's this story, one of my favorites, about a salesman. And he goes out to this appointment, and it's way out in the country. And he gets the appointment, he pulls up, and he sees the homeowner is sitting on the porch. And so he gets out of the car, gives him the wave, walks up to the porch, he, meets and greets with the customer. And next to the customer is a dog. And so he's like, oh, who's the dog? And the customer tells him. And the next thing you know, the dog's like whimpering. And so the salesman says to the customer, like, is everything okay with the dog? It sounds like he's in pain. And the customer sitting there on the porch, he's like, oh, he's okay. He's just sitting on a nail. There's a nail coming up from the floorboard, and the dog sits on the nail, so it hurts him. And the salesman's like, well, can we move him, or like, can we get him out of the way so he's not in pain anymore? And the The homeowner's like, oh, no, he's okay. He's okay. When he's had enough pain, he will finally move. and so my question to all of us, myself included, is have we, you, me, have we had enough pain where we will finally share our gifts? Check this out. This knowledge in industry, I'm going to give you an initial here. WTSE. WTSE. That's called wealth through self-expression. Wealth through self-expression. Never before in the history of humanity could you distribute knowledge the way you can today. And I'm paying extremely close attention to all of this as an entrepreneur, as a trend, and you'll see why in a minute. As well, I'm designing multiple courses, and so are the Wealthy Mofos, to answer the insatiable demand for people who really, really are starving to produce results in their lives. So that said, it's wealth through self-expression. This industry, this knowledge industry, is poised to be $1 billion a day industry. And you can do your own research. That's what my research shows me. Recent studies have shown that 70% of people who are in a job, a job, just above broke, are unhappy. They're not happy in their job, 70%. Think about the ramifications of COVID. People are leaving their jobs because they don't want to be forced immunized. Now, whether you believe in that or not doesn't matter. Whether I believe in it or not doesn't matter. The fact remains, people are walking out of their jobs, and I know some of these people. These are high-level professionals, nurses, and other people who are just walking out. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to go and figure out how to start a business. But then there's a problem. When they go to start a business, 50% of the businesses fail in the first year. And something like 90+% of businesses never make it to the 5th year. And like almost nobody makes it to the 10th year. So think about that. These people are being put in a position where they got to be forced into business. They have this thing in their heart that wants them to share this something with inside of them. And business is incredibly challenging to be in. And the statistics prove that. And then you got, to make things even more amazing, in my opinion, traditional education is literally becoming indoctrination camps. It's a broken model that doesn't work. They're indoctrinating people, whether it be on the college level or whether it be on the elementary level or high school level. It's not working. It's broke. These college students are getting out of college and they have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and they can't even exchange value in the marketplace. So what this is, friends, this is the perfect storm. And this is why the knowledge industry is going to $1 billion a day, because the market knows it. So what this is all about, it's about listening to the market. Listening to the market. The market is saying, I want knowledge in specific areas, specialized knowledge. That's what the market's looking for. So if you're a basket weaver and you're the best freaking basket weaver in town, you have a potential business. If you know how to get rid of acne, you have a potential business. And if you know how to sell something, you know how you have a potential business. If you're a clown and you like to go to the circus, which by the way, the Wealthy Mofos are considering taking the act on the road to the circuses, you have a potential business. How to be a clown and how to get in the circus. I'm just saying to you, the traditional model is broken into pieces. It's shattered. And so now, all of us have these experiences we've had through our life. We all have had these painful experiences. Even if you're from a good family, there is pain in most people's past that you have had to solve to survive. So if you can take the process that you created, invented, innovated, which is in you. You just don't have it formatted. If you can take that process and package it and market it, you have the makings to sit in front of this billion-dollar business. My wife and I last night we went down to see a comedian. Some of you know him. His name is Sebastian Maniscalco. He's an Italian comedian. He's funny as heck. And he was down in Fort Myers, so we were on our way down there. On our way down there, we were talking about, my wife does a lot of, like, she coaches ladies who are unhappy in their marriages. Like, they'll come to her. And I said to her, you know what, hon? You got to write a book. And so I came up with this title, literally in the car. And the title was this: The Secret Sauce to a Delicious Marriage. The Secret Sauce to a delicious marriage. And by the time we got home, when we were getting on the off-ramp on the way home, we had our ninth principle of the book. And so all I'm sharing with you here is that your pain, my wife has struggled. She was married before us, and she got divorced, so she went through a absolutely bitter marriage. And then her and I got together, and we got married, and it's not just been this smooth road, smooth sailing. We integrated families, we blended families. It was challenging, but today, 16 years into this deal, we are madly in love with each other, and we have an amazing marriage. Not perfect, but amazing, and it's delicious. And so my point to you is, within your pain is a product. Within your pain is a process. And if we can convert that and package that and sell that, then I'm telling you, you are getting in front of the right tidal wave at the right time. So the mission is to convert the pain to a purpose and then to a profit. And when people exchange value, they want to exchange the value. They don't want it for free. Now, some of them think they want it for free, but they really don't. Because when they pay for it, they will pay attention. They'll appreciate it. They'll love it. And that's what people are looking for. So with that, I'm complete.
Awesome. Kamal, any response and all that? That was wonderful, Mark. I love it. So, creativity, innovation, collaboration, growth processes are both in the market. I also want to add to that the growth process has to come from the internal first. And whatever kind of responsibility you take for your own life, you can use that as a gift for responsibility for the others. We'll talk about the education system being broken in a little while, but let's give Kamal a chance to state. And anybody else who wants to speak, just ask or whatever the case may be, because I'm interested in everybody's opinion about all this.
Yes,
Kamal,
absolutely. This is beautiful, Mark and Harrison. I mean, the conversation on knowledge and have we had enough pain where we finally share our knowledge? Have we decided that it's time to convert this pain to knowledge where we share it with the world and turn into a purpose, turn it to a profit? What I have, it's a beautiful, Mark, beautiful talk, beautiful conversation. The key that everybody, a lot of times they would struggle with, like, do they really have it? Do they really, what they are going through, does that apply everywhere? And it is $1 billion industry, so it does. So for those out there asking, oh, would this help somebody else? I am sure it does. Be sure that it does, because just like yourself, everybody else is going through the same problem. So if you succeeded, if you have figured it out, if you have got out of that rut, out of that problem, and gained out of it something, you can convert it. You just have to learn how to do that. You have to learn what is the process that's needed. And maybe Mark is an excellent on systems and processes. And that's what took Mark Tosoni from where he was a few years ago, not too long ago, 5-6 years ago, to where he's at now, by implementing systems in place to move you from where you are to where you want to go. It's all about systems and processes from where you are to where you want to go. That pain that you have, that you've converted, where would someone start, Mark? How would they go? What would be some of the initial steps to do for converting this pain into knowledge and starting to kind of write it down? Is it a coach? Is it a mentor? Is it a book they need to write? What would be the initial stages?
Well, to me, I always believe in getting coached on things like this, this particular thing. So I'm huge on that. Initially, to me, it would be starting to jot down where your pain is and what your process is. Everybody has a process, but most people don't value it because it's your process. So you don't see the genius in it because it's just what you do, right? It's who you are. So most people undervalue their process. So I would begin by identifying the process, and then from there, looking at potential starving crowds that you could put that process in front of. So it's not just about solving a problem, but you got to find the starving crowd. And if you look, the starving crowd is there. Somebody somewhere, because we're dealing with a global audience. That's why this thing's going to $1 billion a day. It's already $1 billion industry. It's going to $1 billion a day because somebody somewhere wants to be able to solve that problem. Somebody is struggling with it. So I would just say, initially, get it down on paper. Where's your pain and what's your process to solve it? Then from there, maybe some questions around it. What type of program could I create around it? What type of coaching program could I create around it? And there's so many venues and outlets today to be able to express yourself. It's like we live in a world where it's very easy to express yourself, and it's very easy to get paid to express yourself. So that's what I would say about that, Kamal.
No, I love that. To actually, sit down and get it down on paper and find the starving crowd. When you put down things on paper, that's when you moved from being kind of interested to a little bit more serious. You put it down on paper and you move in that direction. And you start getting coaching and mentoring and even putting it down on paper. You can get help doing that. And yeah, it might cost a bit here, might cost a bit there, but that could all be converted to a business. So this is where the mindset has to change from just being a hobby for fun to hobby for fun, making money, generating income, success, and wealth. And that's how you become a wealthy mofo. So we want to take you from just having fun, enjoying it a little bit, to actually putting it on paper and getting systems in place to generate that income. Now, the starving crowd is very interesting, and maybe we'll get to that in a little bit, because that's a lot of the struggle eventually, how to find the starving crowd, how to find those who are in the same situation as where you were and where you went. So that's an interesting term that Mark uses often. I've heard it before. So for those in the crowd listening, thank you for being here. Thanks for hitting the more button. That is the plus sign at the bottom. That means more, and more is good because more is better, and better is better than better. So let's add, a few more people to the room. You have friends that should learn this kind of information as to how you change your mind to become wealthy, how you change your mind to become healthy. And so do me a favor, hit the plus and add a few more people. Harrison, I'll give you the mic, my friend.
All right. So, the whole process of putting things down on paper. Now, education is being revolutionized as we speak. At this point, college education is becoming less and less value in the marketplace. I mean, it used to be that you could get out of college and get a really super job unless you had very, very specialized education. You'd make a lot of money. But, today, people go through 22 years of education and they're not qualified to do shit. They have to start out in the marketplace. So there's a lot of different things. There are now kids that are 11, 12, 16 years old making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you know why? Because they've been able to cultivate their inner gifts, because they've been able to move forward through, the understanding of the fact that when you are able to open up yourself to your own inner gift process, basically, you get the best grades, you go to the best schools, you give the highest contribution you can have because it's so natural for you, and you become a leader in your industry. So the issue is, how do you differentiate yourself to a starving crowd? Well, you differentiate yourself to a starving crowd by being authentic, by being real, by understanding, that you're not supporting extravagance, you're supporting authenticity. And, even the millennials here, which are coming on, which are, dramatically experiencing and creating America 2.0, if you will, where, there's all kinds of incredible opportunities from everything from crypto mining to, trends in spirituality, trends in politics, trends in retail, trends in medicine, trends in all these other kinds of things. But the thing is that we all, as Mark was saying, we all have these inner gifts, and we do our best when we work from our own inner gifts, and because that's what excites us, that's what lights us up, that's what gives us something. And if you have an inner gift that you are clear and organized about, you can become as rich as possible, as rich as you possibly want to be, because there's always a hungry, starving crowd for anything that is real, that is authentic, and that advances a human being. So the increase in advancement is really, kind of extraordinary, because right now, in the past 5 years, more people have awakened to new possibilities than all of history combined. All the thousands and millions of years of history combined are culminating in the last several years to an incredible opportunity, an incredible level of opportunity. Talk about $1 billion a day. Well, that will be nothing in 10 years or in 15 or 20 years. People will be going through things that are, opening up interplanetary exploration. They're going through things that will be, flying cars and electric vehicles. They're going through precision medicine, where you no longer have to, worry about being sick, because they can heal you from your DNA, or they can heal you from the spiritual alternative practices. The opportunities are phenomenal, and the trends are amazing, because the trends really are the long game. If you play the short game, it's about getting, winning in a manipulative, competitive way. If you play the long game, the increase is sensational, because, what you're doing makes a difference. Like, I teach a course called Quantum Neurogenesis, and, it's my contention that, probably 50 years or 30 years from now, every school child will know everything I know about spirituality, and way more, at the age of about 3 to 5. So, we are moving in some sort of accelerated, energy, kind of momentum that has grabbed this planet in a way that is, kind of remarkable, and it's all part of the revolution of evolution, and so we're doing that. I would love to hear from anybody in the audience on your kind of ideas around all this stuff, and where we want to go. I see that there's some people out there, and I'd like to hear your issues around that, whether you have challenges in terms of finding these kinds of things, or if you have ideas and contentions around all these things. Let's get a healthy, kind of dialogue going here, or trialogue, or quintalog, or whatever.
Love it. Absolutely. Don't be shy with those on the ground. Raise your hand and bring you up. And it's a beautiful conversation.
We want to talk to you. You bet. So raise your hand and get invited up to speak. Because, and it's just us. The teacher learns from the students. The parent learns from the child. The doctor learns from his patient. So, we want to have this dialogue, because every single person out there has a real position on who they are and what they want to give to the world, or what they want to feel from the world. And this increase in self-expression becomes an increase in your abilities, because we all come to things like this, and we all go through our growth process in order to expand our capabilities. So let's expand our capabilities by dialoguing them, because that's one of the ways we internalize what happens with each other.
Absolutely, because once you dialogue, you're expressing it, and it's the beginning of your inner being expressed to the world. And while somebody comes up, just a quick example. I was with my daughter the other day, and her friend from school, they're grade 10 juniors, drops her off in front of the house with a Tesla. It's an $80,000 car. And this guy is 16 years old, and it's like his own car, she tells me. I'm like, wow, how could a 16-year-old have a Tesla that under his name? Well, it turns out he created 8 years ago a small little thing, and he started selling online. It's like a tiny little toy with just a bunch of threads on it, but it took off. He put it online, and it's like one of those little minis. And it became such a sensation in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he started selling hundreds of them. He couldn't keep up. He had to manufacture it overseas, and in record time, this is 7, 8 years ago, he sold like maybe 80,000, 100,000 pieces and made a fortune. So this is a 16-year-old. So every one of you has this genius. Every one of you has this thing that you can come up with. And he created because he was bored. He was nothing going on at the house. And one weekend he came up with this. And every one of you, you doesn't have to come out of pain. It could come out of your genius, come out of your curiosity to create something and put it out there where people would have value from it as a gift, as a toy, as a solving a problem.
I know a 17-year-old kid who had cold feet all the time, and he found some kind of foot warmer socks that he got, and probably in China or something like that. That may have cost him 50 or 90 cents. He sold it for $17, and he is a multi-millionaire at the age of 7. He sold millions and millions of pairs of socks. So it doesn't matter what it is, and he did all that online. But there's no end to the creativity and to the supply and the abundance that's out there. And by being abundant, you don't take anything away from anybody else because the supply is infinite. So, let's talk about that. So let's talk about the infinite processes of creativity, innovation, and the supply and demand cycle out there. Anybody?
Yeah, that's like because as I studied the mindset material and with Harrison, Mark, and Bob Proctor, more and more I truly understand and believe that you're going to have to discover this purpose. Why are we here? What is that purpose? And with that purpose, with that love, there's going to be passion, there's going to be creativity. And you once you find what you truly love and you go to work, your natural abilities are going to be phenomenal. So we have ideas, every one of us. But what's that one or two ideas that's really going to solve somebody else's problem and help them and help you? Because you want to have fun, you want to enjoy. I mean, the Wealthy Mofos is about having fun, it's about conversation, it's about enjoyment, it's about success, it's about money. So what's that one thing that you love? What's the one thing that you want to share? So you take that point and you spread it, start just sharing it. And you eventually will land on your purpose. And that's when you're going to make the fortunes. That's when you're going to have so much fun and abundance. Welcome, Megan. Thanks for coming up. Thanks for being amazing. Megan, what would you love to share with us?
Oh, I just had a question. So I do have some of these ideas that come to me. They usually come to me in the shower, when I'm around water, in the bath, something like that. They just come into my mind, and then I write them down, and then it's like, so how do I get this out there? So one of my ideas is about an app. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but how do you get that? How do you get that to someone, or who, where would you recommend I go to, ask, or, that kind of thing? I'm just kind of very new to all this kind of stuff. So
it's going to take a little research for sure for whatever kind of app you want. But I see that Frank has joined us, and I think this is Frank Clark. Oh no, it's Frank Burgoyne. Okay, I thought it was Frank Clark. Frank Clark is a friend of mine who is a venture capitalist, and he funds a lot of really great stuff. The app business is a really growing business. I know that. You'll probably have to do a little bit of research to find out who creates apps. I know that there's inexpensive apps and there are very expensive apps. So it depends on what you want to do and where you want to go. But there are app creators in India. There are app creators in the Philippines. There are app creators in the States. It depends on what you want and how elaborate you want your app to be. So, you can do a very inexpensive app you can just look that up. I just saw something for like $99 or something like that. And, whatever, you could sell it for $1. John Asseroff did a thing probably, give or take, 20 years ago called Grasshopper, based on the old Kung Fu series, and he sold it for $1. And he made over a couple $1 million, I think, back then, doing just this little app called Grasshopper, where he just did a little quote every day of, either wealth or spirituality or something of that nature. I subscribe to lots of apps myself, so, a little $1 app, $2 apps, or whatever, things like that. Mark, do you have any idea, or Kamal, you have any ideas about app production?
I'm not an app producer, although maybe someday I will be, because I do have a desire to build a SaaS type company, software as a service. A couple things that come to mind for me here. Number one would be to go to work for somebody in a similar field or something that aligns with what your idea is. Also, maybe a little bit of market research on the market. I'd hate to go develop an app and spend my life savings only to discover that it's not in front of a starving crowd or that type of thing. So to me, it would be market research, working for someone else for a period of time to learn what that's all about, or that industry, or that model. Get involved with people in an app group, people who are making apps, start learning about it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the knowledge industry makes it so that there is somebody out there right now, and I've never researched this, but I'll guarantee you there's a course out there called Easy App Making or something to that effect. I can almost guarantee it because we're in the knowledge world. So that's what what my monologue was all about, is that and there might be a specialized college out there somewhere or school that teaches how to create apps. But at the end of the day, there are certainly non-traditional professors who will teach what that's all about. You just got to go find them. To me, I would research the market first and make sure there's an audience that is willing to pay money. Because a lot of us have a lot of good ideas, but to take the idea from idea to actually, completion, you'd want to make sure that the market is there. Someone once said that pioneers die with, and I probably got to be careful saying this today, but because everybody gets so easily offended, pioneers die with arrows in their backs. And so being second to market is not a bad situation. Where if you're looking at something that's already working, you can do it a better way, that type of thing. So those would be my insights on that.
Kamal, anything?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The key to it, Megan, is to actually start asking the question, and you're asking the question. So that could be the beginning. And as you ask the question, ideas are going to come. I do know somebody from Clubhouse that I've spoken with, that he's working on developing an app for his training program. So I'll connect you with him, and it could be the company that's working with him, or he might know somebody that actually is related to the kind of app that you want to make, because there's different style of apps, different designs, and different cost structure. So, but you're on the right track. I mean, the idea is to go from kind of wishy-washy, hopey, interested to kind of committed and start asking these questions. So once you ask, the answers will come. So I will give you at least one name for somebody that is developing an app right now. Somebody is building it for him for his training program. So that's my thought.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
What industry are you in, Megan? What industry?
Well, the thing is too, and I was just thinking that as well. So I have a healing practice, and I do artwork and things like that. But then just these ideas come, and it's like maybe I shouldn't even try to explore creating an app when I'm trying to focus on, growing my business and continuing my schooling with that as well. So I kind of am all over the place with my brain sometimes. I heard it said as well, like Albert Einstein had like this ADD brain and all this kind of stuff. I feel like that's my brain. It's like one thing I can focus for a little bit, but then I'm like, oh, I like to do this and I like to do this, and oh, this is interesting. I'm just like all over the place. So I just sometimes I think I just really need some more accountability in my life, and so that's why I really do appreciate these rooms and just growing.
That's the curse of the entrepreneurs, that they have so many ideas that it's hard to contain. But, the most successful of all people and most successful of all companies are the ones who narrow their focus down into one thing at a time. And, there have been lots of stories about people who, once they focus down after all the kind of interests and opportunities that they see, around them are focused into one thing become enormously successful, because as you focus your energy down into one thing, that thing expands dramatically. You cannot be successful as a multitasker. So you have to have at least one major direction. So that's important. You talked about the art, and I didn't hear what the other thing was. The art, what was the business?
Yeah, just healing. I do sound healing and I do energy work, and I'm just expanding my practice more schooling. Going to be learning DNA activations, theta healing, all kinds of stuff.
That's an incredible industry, man. That's incredible industry. It's a growing trend industry, absolutely. So, and you can definitely, I think an app in that area would be sensational. I don't know how many, or if there are any even out there, just to see if there are. If there are other apps out there, but I think that's a great thing. In terms of the art, I just got somebody just pitched us. Barbeth and I just pitched us to take a portion, like a percentage, a very small percentage of great art, and so you buy into like 1-2 millionth or whatever it is of a Van Gogh painting. When a Van Gogh painting sells or whatever, it constantly increases, obviously. But you take one whatever your percentage is on that you're willing to invest, you get when the next sale comes, you get the dramatic increase in the value of the art. So if it's a great painting and great sculpture, great whatever, that stuff rises at least as fast as the market, sometimes a hell of a lot faster. So really good things, So all right. So any other ideas right now that we want to talk to? Anybody have any questions? Anything we want to talk about? Having to do with trends and markets and situations?
I mean, one of the big trends that's going on nowadays is this automatic stock trading, right? There's so many different ideas happening out there. There's even apps now to buy and sell stocks, for example, automatically, AI, artificial intelligence, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. I just started to kind of get involved in it and got the app, put some money in there, and it's growing. But it's just interesting how that idea, it makes sense, because if you have a machine looking at the trend, it's going to be much faster than an individual. So that's one area where it's kind of interesting to put your money in there or kind of dabble in it and see if that's going to be the direction, instead of handing the money to a traditional investor office or bank or company, Edward Jones, Fisher Investment, Fidelity, where they do the moves for you. This will be like an automatic, which is going to reduce the cost. I mean, that's the idea. So that's one area where I'm kind of looking at.
Yeah, cool. What else do we want to know about trends right now? We want to know that, what's important right now is the fact that the biggest trends, the biggest purchasers on the planet right now are the millennials. They are, I think, 9 times the size of the baby boomers right now, and maybe even bigger than that. So anything that millennials like is something that has abilities for trends and opportunities. So what are the major hallmarks of millennial growth right now, millennial interest? Well, they're interested in sports, they're interested in kind of environmental stuff, green kind of stuff. They're interested in electric cars and artificial intelligence and things of that nature. They're interested in whatever other opportunities are out there for their generation to climate change and things like that, for their generation to survive and become something the next level of what the earlier generation was. And it's always that way. But if you can tap into a trend, if you can tap into the whatever direction or movement is going on in any field whatsoever, you are going to be, in the forefront of what happens. I mean, there are early adopters, there are secondary adopters, and there are, as Mark was talking about there, and then there are people who come on after everything's established. But the ones who make the money, who become wealthy mofos, are the early adopters. If what they hit on, hits well in the market, and then the second level, a second wave of whatever it is. But those are the guys who make the money. Those are the guys who become wealthy. Our internal wealth is based upon, our levels of joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment. And, that's just as important as the external things. But millennials are, definitely they don't want to go through the same processes that the earlier generation has. And so they're looking for the fastest way and the easiest way to make the most, which, the generation before them was about hard work. Hard work is no longer the same issue that it used to be, so right now they're looking for impact work. And, the movement is away from, kind of the whole, I guess, industrial kinds of ideas. The new industry is the internet. The new industry is the Internet of Things and things like that, where everything will be automated and electronic and everything else. I invested in Tesla. Tesla is not a car with a computer, with an advanced computer. It's a computer with a car built around it. And our money has gone like 2,000% in the last year and a half or two at Tesla. So it's been absolutely crazy. So it's about seeing the trends, and you want to maybe sometimes I like the idea of hitching your wagon to a star, and Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. I mean, as much as you just like some of the things that they may promote, or Bezos or some of these guys that have, or Bill Gates and stuff like that, they still, if you're interested in creating a wealth process financially, these guys are where you want to hook your wagons to, as long as they don't do what's objectionable to your moral values and stuff like that. But there's a lot of geniuses out there, and if you can't create and innovate on your own, you hook your star to a genius, somebody else who's doing something great, and it moves. And it moves energy, and when you move energy, you create abundance. So, Mark, any ideas on that, or Megan, any ideas on
that? I do think there's a lot of trends and a lot of areas that so many of us could get into. But the key is what you said, Harrison, as well, is to kind of stay focused on what you really love, what's your real passion, and what you find as going to move you, because it's not about what you're going to get, it's about what you're going to enjoy and learn along the way and become. So don't get into so many different things and keep changing your mind every week as to what's really going to work. If you believe it's going to work, and if you believe truly that's going to solve a problem out there, there's a hungry crowd, you're going to have fun, you're going to make money, you're going to enjoy and grow, and the people are going to be attracted to you one way or another. It's that energy is going to build and build and build. The one thing that kept coming to mind in the last minutes, I guess, while you were speaking, Harrison, like there's this big trend now on Bitcoin and Ether money and digital currency, and I'm personally scared from it. Don't understand it. I don't know it. I don't understand all these digital wallets, but everybody's talking about, we should be going there. We should put some money here. Look at how it goes. But yet, is it too late? Are we too late to jump into that wagon, or should we be looking at something different now because there's something else coming? But that digital currency that's moving all across the world now, and so many are jumping on, it's kind of weird how people can have their own currency now. Anybody that they want, they go, I'm going to have Kamal currency, Mark's currency, Megan's currency. Like, it's an interesting time for the digital money.
And we're in the infancy of that whole process. And so when you tap in the infancy, everything has seasons. So there's the spring, summer, winter, fall, winter season to everything. So everything goes through its cycles. And if you get into a spring cycle with anything, you're in an advantaged and leveraged position to go forward. But I want to answer some questions. I mean, you guys got to have questions out there. So why don't you raise your hands? And you've got 3 experts here, you've got 4 experts or whatever, and our job is to just dispense information. I'm not interested in dispensing information, although I'd like to do it. It's not what I want. I want to give you guys experience, and I want to move you into an experience of a higher consciousness of whatever it is you want to do, because that's where the wealth is. The expansion of your consciousness into whatever desires and situations you may want to have happen. So let's talk about you guys. I don't want to dominate, and I think it's much more important that you guys, you're here for a reason. So let's talk about why you're here, so that we can help, whatever kinds of desires you may have, because that's part of the wealth. So anybody who wants to talk, I'm going to invite everybody up to speak. So let's hit the invite for everyone.
Yes, let's do that. And while Harrison does that, invite you up, please come up and share. It's a safe place. And I put a link to kind of starting a newsletter for the group, and we're going to be promoting the website and the newsletter where we kind of inform you of events that are coming up. So subscribe to that. And welcome, Elliot. Thanks for being awesome. And I release the mic.
Thanks for being.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We all can't even help. We can't even help being awesome. It just comes naturally, right? Yeah. What's up, Elliot?
Going back to what Kamal was saying about artificial intelligence and the stock market. Cheryl and I have been looking, and we're going to be signing the papers probably this weekend with the company. And what they do is they have certain packages, for lack of a better term, or portfolios, if you want to call it that. And it's all artificial intelligently followed. So it pulls you out before the 4 drops and before, you might reach the very peak as well. It's a very interesting company. They are also looking at creating a package for the cryptocurrency, and it's going to have part of this company, part of that company, 2 parts of this company, and I just wanted to let everybody know, that there is something out there that is available. The only reason I didn't say the name of the company is because I didn't know if I was allowed to.
Are you asking?
Well, no, actually, what I would do is, if anyone would be interested, I would say it privately.
Yeah, I think it's okay, Elliot. I know what you're talking about. I believe you're talking about the iFlip, right? I think. But if it's another one, it's another one. Yeah, I put some money in it, and I'm watching to see what's happening. And once I get comfortable with it and understand it, then I'll start asking more intelligent questions. I'm kind of testing the ground, and it's interesting how this artificial intelligence is supposed to take out the big hit when the market drops so fast, like it did, 8, 6, 7 months ago. Even though the market came back, but what if? Just imagine, let's go there with me. What if we can have this artificial intelligence that would stop you from losing all this loss, and you keep riding the wave, So then you would, March, April, you would not have lost in the market 20, 30%. You would be just losing maybe 1 or 2%. So if it truly works, that's amazing. I mean, that's just incredible to kind of to have that. So yeah. That's an interesting concept that they came up with, and the key is the trust factor, feeling it, understanding it, and getting being able to access the money in and out, because sometimes these new companies come up and it's like, all right, you put your money, you can't get it out. I've had that happen with Bitcoin not long ago. I don't feel bad
Right.
about it anymore. But so that's kind of what it is.
Well, I've had numerous conversations with someone there and what have you, and I'd say over the course of about 8 months, and I haven't stepped into it yet because I wanted to make sure all the questions were answered, and I followed to see what was happening, what have you, until I had a comfort level. I also am very cautious, at trying to err on the side of cautiousness, at least at times, with investments. And in this particular case, I think I've done my homework enough to feel comfortable.
No, that's really good. Like, we always have to go somewhere where we've never been. It's kind of interesting from a mindset perspective, and maybe Mark and Harrison can add on that, because as we're experimenting with new frontiers and we're going somewhere where we've never been, if we do the same thing as we did before, if I've always put my money, for example, in the Edward Jones or Fidelity, I kind of know what I'm going to get. But this new way could be the way, and it's a risk reward situation as to when do you do it, when do you put your feet in the water. So.
Well, you have to be cognizant of how things are positioned. It isn't just that they have a new idea; they have to be positioned for a major growth process here. So if you're talking about microchip, they have to be positioned for the next wave of evolution in the electronics industry, et cetera, et cetera. Just as I said, when I was doing crypto research, I couldn't understand how something like a cryptocurrency that's based on nothing but trust could really have a long-term effect. Although there's just so many more people putting trust in because they distrust the bank. So it's a response against distrust. So things like that. So. But, if you position yourself into what is the forward motion, what's going to supply the power behind something that is a trend, you are much better suited to experience the situation than being the one that is out there taking the arrows in the back at the end of it.
I understand. Well, it's interesting, Harrison, because I probably, like you, I was like a non-believer in the cryptocurrency world and what have you. Like, okay, it's probably fad, it'll dissipate in like a year or two and what have you. But then when the banks started talking about creating their own currency, because this is something that they see that their customers are going towards, and this says to me they're afraid of losing the business. So they have to offer a product or a service that's equal to the cryptocurrency world.
Yeah.
That is now approximately, I'd say, about 8 years old. Maybe, a little more, a little less, somewhere around there, though.
Whatever, yeah.
And I think that between the cryptocurrency world, the AI, it's going to be around. And there's something else that's coming up. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Elliot, I want to give Jonathan a chance to speak because we're going to wind up here in just a couple of minutes, and I definitely want to address Jonathan's whatever it is, statement, question, circumstance, whatever. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Harrison. Hey, Kamal. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
This is the thing, man. I'm kind of in a funk right now. Like I kind of know what I want to do, but I'm not doing it. And at the same time, I'm kind of lost in the sense of all of these options and all of these different opportunities and like where I'm at, where I need to be, and whether I'm making the right decision or not. Like the best word to describe it would be lost in a sense, right? Because you guys are talking about, creating a product and a business and all of this. And I'm like, okay, so I've already failed 3 different companies and I'm still working in a field that I'm not too thrilled about, right? I've been doing it for 8 years. I've been doing it. I'm getting good. I'm learning. I'm getting better and everything. But it's like, I see it and I'm like, oh, man, this is not what I need to be doing. But then when I think of the things that I want to be doing, it scares me in the sense of, okay, so you don't have enough experience, of course, because you don't really know the field. But at the same time, I don't understand that fear, like where all of that fear is coming from, and all this excuses to say excuses, and like it's putting me in this situation of just scarcity and like just lostfulness kind of way. I don't know if that makes sense, right? But I don't know. Like I'm looking for guidance and I'm looking for this, but then at the same time, when the guidance shows up, I'm like not doing it. I'm just all up in the place, man.
Okay. So let me address that, and then I'm going to let Mark address that because he's an expert in all this kind of stuff. But I do want to address something. I want you to understand that fear is a good thing in this kind of case because fear is what's going to keep you, cautious and keep you focused as best as possible. If your dreams are not scary to you, you're in the wrong field. So that's one thing. So you have to have goals big enough for them to be scary. So that's one thing. The more audacious they are, the more amazing they are. But then you have to break them down into doable chunks. But you do want to have an overarching fear. But the question always is, you're always going to do your best work, and you're always going to have the greatest amount of success at whatever lights you up. Something that you enjoy doing, that you're a part of, that you want to promote and connect and have fun with the rest of the world on. So something that you want to make that is kind of inspiring for you. It's like poor people don't need money thrown at them. What they need is inspiration thrown at them so that they're able to do what makes them light up. So what lights you up, Jonathan? What is it that lights you up that you would do without any money, that you would have that you would have great pleasure in doing without needing anybody else or any money to do? What is that core thing, that core situation that makes you feel good, that lights you up?
I appreciate your answer there. Like one thing that I've noticed that lights me up is what helping people out, and not in a sense like everybody's always like, oh, I just want to help you out.
No, that's too general. I need to know what you like.
Like that's what I'm going, right? Like help. Like what gives me the most satisfaction is like right now I'm in construction, helping people and watching them get better as like they progress throughout like however many months we're working together, right? Seeing the growth in them, right? Seeing how much better they're getting on a daily